So we wait to see what the outcome will be. We still have about an hour or two before the close of this exercise, so we hope that people will come out to, exercise their franchise. Femi.
All right, thanks, Bimbo Agbebi. Brilliant reporting as always. Well, coming back to the studio, we now have joining us Ezenwa Nwagwu. He is the chairman, Partners for Electoral Reforms, one of those prominent civil organizations involved in the advocacy for electoral reforms. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and welcome. Yeah, earlier on, Ayo and I were talking about, the whole by-election and court-ordered rerun election happening across the country. But indeed, this is another test for INEC. And you have followed the process, the build-up to this day, the D-Day now, when people are out there to vote. How has INEC's preparation been compared to the off-cycle election and the general election? How did they do in the preparation for these particular by and rerun?
Well, I've always tried to shift this conversation from what is INEC doing. And the reason for that is that it's always better to place on the table that election is a multi-stakeholder engagement, and that the activity of each of these stakeholders have positive or negative impacts on the outcome. Now, yes, I understand that INEC sits at the topmost pyramid of election stakeholdership. But truth be told, what it has to do is already done. As at today now, it has come to the culmination of its work. Indeed. In terms of, first and foremost, releasing the timetable, the conduct of the election, the collection of PVCs, and if you followed all of these processes, there has been media engagement telling us the number of people. That is where we are able to get that about 4,200,000 people are going to be involved in this process in 26 states. Meaning that the way you prepare for one polling booth is the way you prepare for 200, for 100. Because if there is a consequence in any of those polling units, it impacts on all this. So for me, it's not a test for INEC. Indeed. It is a test for the different stakeholders whose contributions.
That's security, the CBN.
No, the CBN has no warehouses. It's simply warehouses. Warehouses the sensitive materials. Now, by now, CBN has concluded this work. By simply warehousing those sensitive materials, the political parties are to escort INEC officials to CBN to retrieve these materials from where it is then taken to the different rack centers, registration area centers, where they are then pushed out to the different polling units. But this will not happen by the nature of our own environment, except the security agents provide the enabling condition. One, they have to, unfortunately for us, escort these materials, guide the materials, and then maintain law and order in the precincts where the election.
Is that so much for them to do?
No, incidentally, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But as it is, we make a fetish of even simple, everyday things that we should. Because of the political economy of it, we then have to make it look like it's out of. In some places, for instance, we are hearing the police asking for 145 million. In Kaduna State to secure election, and then you are wondering what does he need, and you say, I want to service armored carriers that have broken down. So you would wait for election to service your broken armored carrier.
Probably this is the best time they get attention from.
No, it doesn't. No, this is not the best time. We are living in a period in which there is insecurity. Most of all those things could even be that those armored carriers are serviced. It's just probably because there's election. So the point for me is that in looking at what we're going to be seeing today, INEC is not on trial. because his work really is to provide those things for the voters to come and vote. If we all behave ourselves, we wouldn't need to be putting on analysis center for, a process that should ordinarily be seamless. Go and vote, we count the votes, and then everyone. But because of the nature of our politics, which is really, as it is now, something that we need to look at, it's fiercely competitive. And I was listening to you and Ayo talking about low voter turnout, and you were using words like apathy. We also need to be careful, because at the end of the day, you have to know what is the number that is registered, and always remember that election in our country is not compulsory. It is we can only persuade people. There are different reasons why people come out to vote. There are different reasons why some people don't even care about voting. So, and this one now is something that a lot of people are also having a call on, as to whether people should contest for a position and then midway they go for another and then create a vacancy.
According to the INEC chairman now, the biggest challenge for the commission in the conduct of this election is insecurity and incendiary comments by political actors. So it appears as if political actors have also not played according to the books and have been like a thorn in the flesh for INEC in the whole build-up to this election.
Yes, so between me and you, that's the focus of my engagement. That we over-respect the politicians, the political parties, and we don't hold their feet on the fire.
So this INEC.
80% of the challenge you have with election. And if you had taken time to study what is coming out from the courts, you will see that it is more about the misbehavior of the politicians than the conduct of the election itself. More of the misbehavior of the political class than the conduct of the election itself. Most of the calls that you have seen had to do with the shenanigans that happened internally in those political parties. And because we are not focused on that, the fall guy for us will be the one who has responsibility to make them behave well. But so if the INEC chairman is telling you that the biggest challenge is insecurity. So there are different kinds of insecurity. There is the real insecurity. There is the political insecurity. Okay? So if you dissect all of that, who is responsible for managing security and insecurity? The people we elected, who come through a political party, is that not so? Who promised us that they would secure us. So if they don't secure us, they create work for me and you. It's not an INEC chairman's issue now. You live in Abuja. And so even if INEC chairman does not tell you that the biggest threat to the current thing for his staff, for the voter, is actually the fact that there's a psychological siege that has enveloped most parts of the country, in which people don't feel safe to not only go to vote, they can't also go to farms, they can't go to the river, they can't go to the general issues of. So the politicians have created that siege environment. During election, they can take advantage of it. But one thing that we need to underscore is that if in Surulere, where you have 100 and something thousand people, that's 160 so thousand people you're expecting to vote today, only 20 come out to vote, somebody will be declared a winner. And that person will represent Surulere federal constituency in the national. So whether you come out...
So it's now not a system where they say majority carries the day.
No, it is majority carries the day. Majority in the sense
that come out to vote.
It is that majority carries the day. It's not majority in the house. It's not the majority.
Not the registered voters.
No, it's not the registered voters. It's not the one that is on, as we speak now, that is monitoring the election on Twitter. that is listening to us, that is that one who has taken the pains to go and queue up and exercise that franchise, and then can then make that demand that I elected or did not elect this representative. And that is what the conversation should always be about. Because many times we make people comfortable when we give them the impression that, because some of them say they are protesting. They are angry about how 2023 election went. They are angry about how the person who, all that your anger will not vitiate the fact that by midnight today, latest Sunday morning, a winner will be declared. And what history will record will be the number of people who came out and exercised their franchise. And that is important to constantly let our people know. That go out now. Yeah. This is the time to go out. Your voting, your PVC, is the power that you have to make a change. Incidentally, at least from the visuals that we have seen, it's peaceful. So that you have no excuse, in terms of, maybe it is violent and all of that. Go out there, cast your vote. Democracy, this one that we are practicing, has come to stay.
Okay, let's get a live report from our correspondent in Plateau State, Sifon Essien. Hello, Sifon. Good morning.